Welcome to Khorasan and the Khorasanis. In the last episode, I probably dropped a shocker on you by saying that I'm very skeptical about the black flags coming out of Afghanistan. I'm very skeptical of this. I don't believe that the large deposits of equipment were left there by a miracle of Allah or as a gift from Allah to righteous people. I want it like we will see righteousness. Demonstrate righteousness to me. Prove that there is spiritual revival in those lands. Show me any examples of spiritual revival the past 40 years. Show me excellent, spiritually mature humans from there. Show me how people have worked through sufferings and implemented very healthy, beneficial ways to come out of suffering. So for instance, the more that we surrender and go through the purification, then the nearer that we draw to Allah as truth most high, then we are going to express different qualities, traits, and characteristics related to the beautiful names. I've said this in other videos, but if you surrender to truth and go through the purification process, the closer you get to the Creator, the more creative you're going to become. The closer you get to the compassionate, the more compassionate. To the merciful, merciful. To the just, just. To the forgiving, not only will you be able to be more forgiving, but its expressions are in being able to let things go, to be able to study things in a warmly non-attached manner and not get emotionally engaged in it, and you can see it for what it is, and then you can behave justly and compassionately. You can behave justly and discern properly and behave properly. And this is the old Khorasani way. We have seen many powerhouse spiritually evolved, mature humans out of the Khorasani region, going all the way back to ancient Bactria and beyond. From the time when it was a shamanic land, from the time where it was a Buddhist and Zoroastrian land, to the time when it was a predominantly Sufi land. We start to see a shutdown of the spirituality, a drying up at a much later date. The past few hundred years, it's become increasingly dry spiritually and academically. You know, we're just not seeing it. I'm not saying that there haven't been anomalies, that there haven't been expressions. You know, I remember hearing lectures from scholars that had traveled there before the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, and they commented on the kind-heartedness of the people and the beauty and the depth that's there. So I think there was still some resonance, and there probably still is resonance from the ancient root systems within the genetic and energetic expressions of the Khorasani people, the Khorasani lands, and the Khorasani way. Because I would argue it's a Khorasani way. And I view, you know, this is the land of the rising sun. That's automatically enlightenment. I'll be discussing some other ways of viewing history through this lens work and some alternative ways of viewing this. So let's just talk quickly. So if it is not the people of Afghanistan, we need to see the land must be healed. Heal in English is related to wholeness. So we need to see broken people become whole. We need a whole making process. We need to see the healed healers arise all around the world. And I do think that this is possible in Afghanistan, but it's a tremendous task, and it will take a considerable amount of time and energy. And I don't believe we actually have that right now. So I'm very concerned for this land, and I believe that we're about to see potentially, false Mahadis on the scene, fake black flags. We've already seen expressions of it with in Iraq, in Syria, in Libya, a number of times, and they keep on trying to pop up. You know, like the alphabet boys try to send them out and put, and to destroy the Ummah in various ways and get mentally unhinged Muslims who are out of balance and out of sync and full of impurities and toxins within their bodies and their minds and their hearts increasingly sealed. And they're trying to throw them off and then to make the Ummah look bad and make us, get off path. So what I earlier, I suggested to you that the great Khorasani scholars and Sufis of the various movements within the madhabs, within the Turuk, within various Shia expressions, they moved into the heartlands of the Muslim lands, into, Anatolia, Iran, the Middle East, even extending across, all over South Asia. And then we see further expressions, either directly or indirectly, with the genetics and the energetic and intellectual, the ideas, the contemplative traditions, etc. So the Khorasani way and energies also spread throughout Southeast Asia, through Muslim Southeast Asia, as well as through North Africa, West Africa, East Africa. And throughout the entire Muslim world, Southeast Europe, we see various expressions. I mean, to this day, Southeast Europe, they have a Bektashi movement. You know, Haji Bektash, he's originally a Khorasani. The Mevlevi movement is Khorasani. The Chisti movement of South Asia is Khorasani. The Kubrawiya and then its impact on the Naqshbandiya, the Jarahi Havati order and their Yasavi influences. You know, we have like the Persianized Turks that were influenced from the Khorasani energies, as well as various Persianized expressions that have spread throughout the Muslim world extensively. And then, so this is what I would argue, is that those energetic and genetic influences have spread throughout the world now. And I expect to see a large number of the black flags. I would argue this is not, the black flag is a flag of war. And what I would argue is this is related to the to the greater struggle, the struggle against the nefs that incites to evil, the nefs that incites to selfish expression, the false ego, the false self, however you might want to term it. But its hold is dissolved upon us when we go through Toba and Tezkiah, the holistic Toba and Tezkiah process, which I'll explain in more detail. But Toba is related to letting go of, like to turning away. It means turn away. So it's turning away from that which does not hit the mark. That which misses its mark and that which misses its aim is sin. That which takes us into impure, toxic states of thought, word, and action. Toxic, unhealthy, unnatural, imbalanced inputs and outputs that are unethical, impure. We need to come out of that, and that we go through a Toba process, and we realize we turn away from the idols. The idols are the idolatry is when we are overly attached and overly devoted to false conceptualizations of people, places, things, and ideas. That's idolatry, hands down. And many people are engaged in idolatry, and we need to be very wary of idols, where people they've made various, they've made scholars and priests around the world their idols. They've held them up too high in esteem. Concepts, books, places can be idols. So idolatry is very vast, but it's very personal as well. And anytime you have a wrong view, you automatically have wrong practice, guaranteed. And wrong practice has a cause and effect, reverberatory impact upon your body and your words and your actions. It impacts how you move in and through this world in very significant ways. We need to be very wary of this, Muslimin. And we need to come out of our idolatry ASAP. It's absolutely critical. I'm not hearing anybody call to Toba and Tezkiah holistically. This is the only way to get. How are we facing an extinction level event and nobody's calling Toba and Tezkiah? Are you serious? And I'm not talking about a couple rakat. That's weak. And it's not enough. Not nearly enough. I'm talking going through and healing ourselves physically, the bodily systems as a whole, healing ourselves emotionally, and becoming strong, well nutrified spiritually, boosting our spiritual immune system, becoming upright and whole, rectified, made ready. This is what we need. So I'm kind of on walkabout with this. But what I would argue is that the Khorasanis, there are people all around the world that have Khorasani genetics and don't even realize it. Or they have the seed of enlightenment that they haven't thought about as such. So we have, we're seeing Khorasanis awakening worldwide. It's the spirit of awakening, the spirit of enlightenment. It could be seen related to, it's the Toba and Tezkiah process in comparative religions might be related to the bodhicitta, the seed of enlightenment, from within that way of looking at things. I use comparative religion to basically, sometimes I will use Buddhist frames to understand Islam and Islamic frames to understand Buddhism, and Buddhism to understand Christianity and Christianity to understand Islam, and vice versa. And all these things come together. because I'm seeking truth. And we use the beautiful names to understand these things. And we are transformed. As we're transformed, different expressions, traits, qualities, and characteristics of the beautiful names will begin to shine through us. And inshallah, we shall be transformed thereby and transform the world, inshallah, as we are personally transformed. So I need us to just consider that the genetic seed lines of the Khorasanis are worldwide. Also, the Khorasanis' intellectual and contemplative traditions were spread worldwide. We're just speaking Islamic Khorasan right now. We'll go to the Bactrian elements in a moment, inshallah. But with the Islamic expressions of Khorasani contemplative traditions, academic scholarly traditions, practices, worldviews, etc., the philosophical expressions, the ethical expressions, things related to fiqh, to medicine, etc. All these different areas spread not only throughout the Muslim world, but see, Muslims used to actually have positive influences on non-Muslims. Where is that now? Where is that? And why is it not like that anymore? It's the dog tribe. The dog tribe, they have a pack mentality. Dogs are domesticated wolves. They are held by leashes. A leash is also a puppet string. The puppet master or the dog owner, the master, can move its dog where it chooses. Dogs will answer to their master in exchange for food, clothing, shelter, affection, safety, opportunity. And so the dog tribe, they are wolves in sheep's clothing, and they have the outer expressions of religiosity, but they are actually they are ravenous wolves. And they rip people to shreds. They are out to they're people of fitna. And they're basically very cold-hearted and not expansive. They are close-minded. They're close-hearted and close-fisted in their expression. This is how you can read them and trace their origins and their roots. So look into this. But I'm saying that so the Khorasanis, so that is what we're up against within the Ummah. But then you see the Khorasani influences spread into Europe, and then through Europe through the Renaissance and beyond, then spreads worldwide. And so we see worldwide an expression. The Khorasani spread everywhere through genetics, through ideas, through various technologies, through the sciences, through the contemplative technologies, spreading worldwide. Also, now let's go into the Bactrian influence. Now this takes us back to Buddha Dhamma. And with Buddha Dhamma, in earlier episodes, we were discussing how Balkh and Khorasan were called Bactria, and how this was a hub transferring all types of information from various areas of South Asia, from Nalanda University and the Eastern Indian university systems, rooted at Nalanda and Vikramshila, and Somapur in Rajshahi in Bangladesh, as well as Takshila in Pakistan, and the university systems at Balkh and in Bamiyan region, and then the cross connections in the flows of information and genetics and technologies along the Silk Road, east and west to the Greek lands and the Hellenistic world, and how that impacted Jewish thinking, Christian thinking, Muslim thinking. It influenced China and Japan and Korea and Vietnam, how it went down into Southeast Asia and had massive impacts, Vedic thinking, and genetics and various Buddhist thinking. So the earlier Bactrian seed lines, genetics spread worldwide along the Silk Road and beyond, and their ideas and their contemplative traditions, etc. So we've got the different aspects of the Dhammic or Dharmic traditions, as well as the Abrahamic traditions and the Hellenistic traditions, all have serious Khorasani inputs. Another aspect is shamanism. Shamanism had an impact from Balkh region. Various shamanic traditions spread in and out of East Asia, Central Asia, South Asia, across Eurasia, the grasslands, the steppes, into the Middle East, and then into Africa. And shamanism had many different important important things that are now, we still see shamanistic aspects in a number of practices within the Islamic world and within the Buddhist world, related to harmonizing with nature, utilizing herbs and roots and minerals for healing and energizing, nutrifying, enhancing. We see connections to the shamanism from Khorasan had inputs and outputs connected to the Taoist traditions and Zen traditions of China, and then as they spread to Korea and Japan. We also see the shamanistic impacts on various Turuk and their various traditions, spreading into and then also the Shramanic tradition, which is connected to shamanism within Buddha Dhamma, within the Jain tradition, the Ajivika, within the Vedantic traditions, the various yogic traditions. Yoga meaning to harmonize and unify body and mind, to purify and to be made whole. It's a whole-making process. These are spiritual technologies that have various tools within the toolkit related to visualization, observation of breath, observation of sound, observation of touch, so tactile expressions, so eyes, ears, taste, touch, smell. All the senses can be paths to enlightenment, doorways to enlightenment, and ways of cultivating what now I'm going to be anachronistic, but to purify so that the prophetic reality can be manifest and that people can meet the prophets within our very selves, peace be upon all of them, and to their genuine, real inheritors. So also within the shamanic tradition, an element of Khorasan that is spread worldwide is cannabis culture. And also, to a certain extent, we could argue in somewhere thereabouts, and I don't know much about this, but the mushroom culture, the mycocultural aspects that had an impact on our various developments as humanity from ancient time onward, and that are very closely linked to our healing traditions and to our developments with contemplative technologies. Often when it comes to, like, say, cannabis culture, we will see an impact of cannabis culture on a society, and then an impact upon healing traditions, a move back to nature, a move back to a plant-based way of living, as well as to contemplation of breath, sound, etc. Because it's a way that we are healing and making whole. And so this is very much why Ilyas alayhi salam and Hidr alayhi salam, the green one, is often, in the chariot of fire, those are often associated with cannabis and so the hemp plants and their psychoactive components and the healing components that we know from CBD, etc. This is all rooted in the Khorasani region, which is the homeland of indica, sativas, etc., rusticas. So these plants still to this day play a role within this region, but have played a key role within the spiritual tradition, within the spiritual development of humanity. And we see this heavily within the Sufi tradition, the Taoist tradition, different aspects of the Buddhist tradition. And oftentimes it's linked to a healing expression. And so for instance, right now we're seeing a lot of people that are damaged by having dirty blood, and they're finding that the juicing of these plants is having a tremendous impact on them recovering health and well-being. And many people who have done this, they also they begin to explore nature again. They get out and they really, people who have just look into, like, anytime, if you are seeking to heal from any illness, if you've got a cancer, if you've got any type of illness, look for healing stories. Always look for healing stories. And now we have so many stories from around the world. As medical cannabis has been legalized in many areas of the world, people have begun to heal tremendously. And also, there's been a renewal of spirituality in relationship to this within every religious tradition and non-religious tradition, where people are seeking to purify their bodies, purify their minds. We are intuiting that we need to do something different. So what I'm suggesting is that then a massive Khorasani influence is related to this very special plant, which has a symbiotic relationship with humanity somehow, and that many people believe is going to help to heal the ecosystems of the world on the other side of this devil tech era. And because we've got to clean out all the nano and all the genetic modifications, we got to clean out all of the pesticides, the synthetic lab-grown pesticides, herbicides, damage from various wars. We need to heal our lands, heal our waters, heal our air, and basically become a vast green world. And so I would argue that the Khorasanis now, this is part of it as well. So contemplation, plant-based medicines. The book of Revelation speaks about the leaves that will heal the nations, and there are many people who have taken a reading of these biblical materials in relationship to the herb as being within this network. Many things are being called haram that are not haram in the least. Because there are lies out there. And if people are lying for you to muddy your blood, what else are they lying to you about? What else are they misunderstanding and misrepresenting? So what I'm saying is that the Khorasanis, it's a much bigger expression, a much bigger movement than you've been led to believe. The black flags, this is the greater struggle against all falsehood. It is those who are rooted and surrender to truth. To truth. Not to false conceptualizations. It's not to idolatry, to any particular textual tradition or scholarly tradition, and certainly not to ideology. Any type of supremacism is satanic sunan, guaranteed. Because Iblis, the accursed, he is a gen supremacist. He is a bigot. We are not to be exclusivists. We are not to be exclusionists. We are not to be externalists. We are not to be materialists. We are not to be supremacists. We are to be humans. Mature, perfected, upright, whole humans. We are to cultivate the greatest aspects of our intellect and to have sharp-minded, wide-ranging intellects and vision. We are to have vast, expansive hearts that can contain, within a heart of loving kindness and compassion, all of Allah's creation with respect and appreciation. So I want you to just consider these things very closely. I know these are kind of out there, and maybe it's worth looking into. But Khorasan and the Khorasanis are much more than you've been led to believe, and it's much closer to home. Don't be expecting them to come over the hill anytime soon until they go through their healing and whole-making process. So I'm calling all of our Afghani brothers and sisters, may you be happy, peaceful, healthy. May you be brought into wholeness. May you be purified, body and mind. May you come out of your addictions. May you heal your marriages. May you heal your homes. May you achieve your great potentials as intellects. May you connect to your ancestral lines and be one with them. May you be rectified. May Khorasan, in its geographical expression, once again be made great through you. But I'm also calling on all the Khorasanis worldwide. And the word, Khor means a heart of. And Ihsan this is related to excellence, to beauty. It's related to the path of purification. I call Islam the prophetic path of purification and perfection. Islam is surrendered to truth, Most High, the wise and compassionate Lord of all worlds, the supreme guide. So, brothers and sisters, you are loved and appreciated. Give this some strong consideration. The Khorasanis are more than you've been led to believe. If this resonates in your heart, then I would argue that you are likely a Khorasani. That means that go through your greater struggle. This is how you carry the black flag. Also, this is the right-hand path. The right-hand path is the path of mercy, compassion, forgiveness. And it's the path of justice because one grips the other. Allah is the firmest handlehold. Truth is the firmest handlehold. We are to be unattached to anything else but truth. Truth is our guide and our Lord. Anything that's not truth fades away necessarily. So go through the letting go process and realize Ihsan now for yourself. Hold your black flag high. It is time. It is time to be rectified and made whole. So we've got much more to say in these regards, but you are loved and appreciated. Till next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.